are almost the only church that does not look at your academic qualification as a measure for leadership. Though academics are good, we can choose anybody in church so long as we recognize their gifts, their abilities, and their presence to do things. And therefore, having said that, I will quickly run through, without going word for word, but I'll run through a few what I consider as the roles and responsibilities of our church leaders. We have given these to, we have been guided by the instruments in church, including the Constitution and the Quaker faith and practice. And the role of the presiding clerk is that he shall preside over all business sessions of the respective church, whether it is monthly meeting, local, or yearly meeting, whichever is applicable. And the presiding clerk is also of ex officio in any other committee in church. You cannot, I have seen in recent times, people becoming very protective about their committees and saying, you know, clerk angoje sisi tumalize ndio tumpelekee kwa kamati. He's ex officio, he can sit in the missions commission, he can sit in the building commission, as when and he has time to do that. He's ex officio in meetings. He shall execute his or her duties with sound judgment, spiritual discernment, and ability to determine what the will of God is. And as I said earlier, this is an area that we have not done very well. A lot of it sometimes head knowledge. This is what I think, this is what I want. But spiritual discernment means that you would keep quiet, you would listen, you would pray over, you would ask what the Spirit is saying about a matter. Shall consult with other leaders who work under or harm in the proper administration and development of the meeting or the church. Shall be the leader of the laity and shall be required to perform all duties that go with that office. Let me tell you my thoughts on this thinking about laity and clergy. And I think that's where the problem is. When Pastor Lqcc asked me to speak this, he sent me a separate note saying, ongea hapo sana hapo kwa relationship between pastors and leaders. And I just want to declare that by saying, the way we are structured, there should be no reason for any clerk or pastor to have a problem. We draw our strength from the congregation. We are not employed to be leaders in church as presiding clerk. Even if the pastors are employed, their roles are known. I believe very strongly, when I was pastor Mombasa and Emeritus clerk was a recording clerk, if I had a matter, before we bring it, to escalate it to the committee, I'll call him and ask Simon, where are you? He said, I'm in the house. Can I come? He says, come now, because I want to leave in the next 20 minutes. And I would say, we have this young man who has a desire to join the Bible school, but he has no resources. What do we do? Then Simon tells me, let's call the clerk. Then we go to the clerk and have a consultation of 3 people. When we come to the committee, though we want the committee to approve, but we have a certain understanding before the committee. And I think that's what needs to happen to every pastor and every clerk. Consult and consult and consult. There should be no room for bwana mkubwa na bwana mdogo ama bi mkubwa na bi mdogo. There should be no room because we are always consulting. I need this, I would like this done. I go to class clerk Christine and say, I feel if we do it like this, but she then tells me, let's talk to other leaders. Let's find out what other leaders are thinking. So there is absolutely no room for pastors and clerks to quarrel. And in the words of my general superintendent, clerks are decision makers and pastors are implementers. I think that is as clear as it should get. And I think that's what the clerk emeritus said earlier. Clerks have made decisions, and those decisions need to be implemented. The pastor needs to run with those decisions. But by also checking back, don't just run and disappear. Check back with the source. Always check back with the clerk. This is what we have planned to do, is that you have an idea, you have an opinion, so that we do not have to be quarreling. I don't see why we should. Because our roles are distinct and we work together. There's what we call complementarity in leadership. And the Quaker Church is one church that has ensured that we complement one another. I know sometimes it is difficult to practice. If a clerk preaches a sermon, for example, and the people meet her outside and say, you have preached so well, there's a temptation to feel, kumbe nahubiri kuliko mchungaji. But I shouldn't fear. Maybe I need to improve. I need to improve my sermon development so that I am preaching, because we are not in any competition. Some people are not able to allow others to share the pulpit because of fear that watahubiri vizuri na watu watasema wamehubiri vizuri. But that does not mean people don't know their pastor. So we shall ensure that the minutes and membership records are kept in secure and safe place, and they are updated. Although this is supposed to be a function of the recording clerk, but I think what Brother Oyamo shared earlier was that everything that is done in any meeting, the clerk must be in copy. The clerk must know that this is what happened, and this is what, and so that those minutes are well kept. Shall also preside over all official, or shall not preside over meetings of worship. I am spending a little bit time on this one because the rest run. They run, if you're a chair, if you're a vice clerk, the rest run like that. This time, in the wisdom of the GS, he sent out a very detailed statement for the clerks. Some of them read until they take water and read again. But it's not just for the fun of it. The words in that document are real, they are important, and they should be applied. It's a tool also for our work as clerks. I think sometimes we have an argument over services, but it doesn't mean that the pastor is in charge of service exclusive of the people, exclusive of the presiding clerk. In a meeting where I've worked, I always ensured that when I do a program, I send it to the clerk before we share it with everybody else. This is what we intend to do on Sunday, and this is the theme, and this is what we expect to do. And the clerk would return to me and say, go ahead. Go ahead. I've seen it. It's okay. It doesn't mean that clerks do not have ideas of how the services must be run. But it only means that it's a function assigned to another group. You may know, you may be an expert, but that function you do not have. And then they shall be a signatory to the accounts. Clerk Emeritus, I was surprised today when I heard that the presiding clerk is not a mandatory signatory. I was surprised because I've never heard of something like that. There's an organization which I chair the board, and I am a signatory, and I'm a mandatory signatory because I am the one who chairs. So I've never heard of, that was strange for me, although I thought clerks are automatic because they are in charge of this institution. But I'm yet to be convinced why they are not. The vice clerk does all the work that the clerk does, either when the clerk is absent, or whether he is traveled, and when he has delegated. You know, you can be there, Clerk Christine, but you choose that the functions that you have will be exercised by Robert when you are present. Sometimes that's why now the issues of mentorship becomes an issue, because you are the only one who knows what to be done. So when you become sick, the church catches a flu, because wasema hatuna mtu wa kuongoza. In our local church at home, when there was a meeting, it was never postponed. When the clerk was not there, the vice would be called upon. If the vice is not there, the recording clerk would be called upon. If all of them are not there, they would watakopa watu. Watasema fulani kuja ukaya. And whatever decision they make are binding because you didn't tell them where you are. Kuna some of the, maybe they are fading away. There are some clerks, when a decision has been made in their absence, people have to repeat the exercise. Nani mulipitisha kama nani? Mimi mwenye hii mkutano. Wewe si mwenyewe vile mliza alisema ni Yesu. And all the people you have been chosen with are capable, and they can discharge those duties. And so you can delegate to the recording, the vice clerk. We shall chair the meetings of Human Resource Committee. I will say it, absence or when delegated. The recording clerk shall record, maintain. I didn't see up for finance. I've seen only human resource. The recording clerk shall record, maintain, and prepare minutes of the business sessions, and shall circulate the minutes to all members of the business sessions concerned immediately after the sessions of the meetings. And I need to congratulate Langata monthly meeting, because sijui kwenu nasema tu kwetu. Mtuso kwao, wanasema sijui mtuso kwao ufanyaje. Mcheza kwao utuzwa. Haya. Vile mmesema. I have, immediately the first week we finish the meeting, we all receive the minutes. Personally, kwa mitandao zetu and so on. I think that is a good practice, so that, but the devil is in the details. It's one thing to receive minutes in time, but it's another to read those minutes and understand. Sometimes we get the minutes ni watu wanasema, kwanza clerk Lqcc ndio alisema, mlisoma anasema so then kama mlisoma weka mkono juu, watu wawili peke yake ndio wameweka mkono juu. So shall read all official, shall ensure that resolutions are clearly minuted and communicated in the implementation authority by the implementation authority of the church. And I think Ndugu Oyamo spent considerable time on why minutes are important, and we discussed with Clark earlier. Minutes books are important. Program books are important for doing the work of God. And shall promptly communicate all documents, reports, announcements to officers and officials required to take appropriate action. Reading clerk shall or the vice secretary shall deputize the recording clerk and perform all such duties in his or her absence, shall read all official communication to the meetings, shall read all documents to the committee and announcement received, and shall promptly communicate all documents, reports, and announcements to officers who are to take action. The treasurer, I think he or she has the bulk of the work. The treasurer shall receive the income of the respective meetings on behalf of Nairobi yearly meeting. And that is critical. And shall one record and deposit income from the meetings, individuals, institutions, and projects or organizations. Issue receipts. Arrange for 2 or more persons to count and record the collections that we had earlier. Without exception, may not spend any of the income of the meeting before it has been deposited in the bank. Shall make disbursements on the direction of the General Committee after receipt of the request for payment. This, I had a small meeting with Oyama, and was saying one of our critical areas in the relationship between the clerk and the treasurer is that some treasurers can be very hard. Even when you take a decision, they will tell you hakuna pesa. Even when they have not listened to what you are saying. There must be a seamless relationship between the clerk and the treasurer, because kulingana na our understanding of the French church is the clerk is the accounting officer, not the treasurer, not the recording clerk. The clerk is the accounting officer. That's why when you go to a higher meeting, they don't ask the treasurer, let a budget ya Langata. They ask the clerk. So when you have a relationship and minutes and documents, supporting documents are there, you cannot say, I don't feel that expenditure is important. Even after the clerk has explained to you and the documents that are required have been done, you can't refuse. I know in many meetings, this is a real problem. But that's why we're in this induction, so that then we correct that. We are supposed to work for the progress of the church. We are not supposed to be an impediment to the progress of the church. We are supposed to make sure that we are working together very well. The clerk is working and the treasurer is working, and the people who keep records are keeping records, so that then the church at the end of the day has a focus on where we need to go. Shall make no disbursements or promises of payment without written approval of the same by way of a minute or otherwise, and shall keep complete and accurate records of all disbursements. And the vice treasurer does the same, like we have said about the vice presiding clerk and the. So you can either delegate or work when the person is absence. So I wanted to finish by saying that if you are willing to work with these instructions, there should be no problem. Each person knows what to do, and we fit in the committee, and we fit with the people, and we fit like the structure we are shown by the emeritus clerk, and still would want to perform. Because sometimes there is opaqueness, but not that opaqueness of Gerera, there is opaqueness in the operations of the church. Some things are kept unnecessarily secret when they shouldn't. And that, I think we have leaders. I believe myself that you know your roles and responsibilities, and we have said when you go home you can do your own sessions, and you can spend more time to elaborate on this, and we are willing to support our meetings to know that we are not in the business of competition. We are in the business of working together, because when we do, there is progress. I want to stop there and ask if there is any question. Swali kwa wanafunzi? Yeah. Wale mlikuwa mnaniangalia na closed eyes, please open them. I know how tempting this afternoon is, but you've done very well. So I think in the absence of, so that we can discuss the details in groups, and time is against us, I would like to ask us that if you are clerk or vice clerk, and you sit in that corner, or chairman of a program, you sit in that corner, and the conversation, emeritus clerk will guide us in that conversation. If you are a recording clerk, and reading clerk, secretary and vice, you also sit where I showed you. Where did I show you to sit? Here. Yeah. And the treasurers will have their good time this way. We want to take a half an hour. Please don't make it long, because time is, then we will come back and make brief reports of our meetings, and then we will go towards closing. So if you, yeah, so let me just see where I put it. People who are in service commission, nomination and constitution will sit with the clerks. Service commission, nomination, and constitutional commission, and even social will sit with the clerks. If you are innovation, which is our old literature and publication, and part of pastors, you can choose to sit in any of these meetings. Mission commission is a central. Please be where you are supposed to be. Oh, these people are already seated as recording clerks. And the education commission will be with the secretaries and recording clerks. And if you are vice presiding, we transfer vice presiding clerk to the commission that deals with finances, treasurer, vice treasurer, internal audit, all of you this way. Please, usiende nje, walk to your group. Walk to your group, because this is important. So, ndugu yamo, The floor is yours, 30 minutes. Let them choose a secretary and a chair, and then we can begin the session. So before we start, just sit quietly as we ask GS to say a word, and he will disappear thereafter.
Thank you so much, friends. Bwana asifiwe. Aya, secretaries kumbe wengine walienda nyumbani. I want to say something about, just look at your screens. We are working and constructing our church in Vikwatani as agreed last year. We are racing against time, that is where we are. We are now working also, you can see those are the structures. Floor is also being worked on. A hardcore is being put in. And again, also working on the trusses. We want to utilize this church during the conference. Huyu fundi inatakana atoke kwa venue tarehe 10. A pave way for the conference to begin on 17th. We have a lot of money, but that money, or those monies are still in our pockets. I want to I want to appeal to us so that we support this initiative. We are doing something online. I think we are dedicating on 8th that we'll be doing an online fundraise. Just encourage your members to participate. Waswahili husema kidogo kidogo hujaza nini? Kibaba. And that's the appeal that we are putting across. I need more than 300,000, but that one is targeting only that day. I want to appreciate and request all leaders. There is a link that is running across. You can share with your members. Just encourage them. Hata mtu akiweka ndani shilingi 100, mwingine aweke 200, tutafika mahali ambapo tunahitajika. We must be able to get the roof on that structure to host us during the conference. This is your church. As we talk about ministry, we are now building our own center, and we are putting up that church to be a center that will be able to host people in that area. Tukiwa na conferences pia tunatumia papo hapo. Kwa hivyo hiyo ni kanisa letu. I'm appealing to you. Si pesa mingi mingi, tunataka mingi, tuko nayo yote, lakini iko bado wapi? Kwa mifuko. Ukiwa na 500 unaweka, ukiwa na 200 unaweka, ukiwa na 1300 unaweka, ukiwa na 1400 unaweka. I have reached out some friends to be able to help us. I'm still also pursuing them because now we are in a very critical stage where every coin counts. So nimetaka tu kusema hiyo. Please leaders, make sure that link you have it. Share with your meetings and just encourage them tomorrow. Hata kama ni shilingi 200 waweke tu kwa pay bill. Don't receive money. Wayamalitaka kunipatia pesa hapa cash, nikamwambia cash jukuangi. Kwa hivyo don't be tempted kuchukua cash. Ingie kwa pay bill ya NYM ambao ni 944900. Don't share on a personal number. Pesa hapana. Ingie tu hapo. 944900 account Vikwatani. Asante sana, Mungu akubariki as you purpose to be part of this good history. Amen.
Thank you, GS, and we love you. We wish you well, and ask that our members will respond in that manner. So I've not seen pastors move to these groups. So please sit closer, because then we are going to have a conversation. I think the clerks are many. Yeah. So if you are a secretary or recording, here. The finance. Yes. Vice clerks, please, you are transferred to finance. Yeah. And is there somebody we have not given a group? Sante. Choose a chair and somebody to take notes. Then we will share briefly.